Hi guys, critique time for the assignment this week, which was high key, low key, and juxtaposition. I've only got 5 entries. If you submitted, I know there was no place on Sakai to do this. I had forgotten to post the assignment there. But as always, you can always email them to me or use the Dropbox on Sakai to place the files. So if you haven't gotten them to me yet, get them to me in the next day or so you can get credit for this, even though you won't be part of the critique. So Sierra's up first. I don't have any text to go along with these, so I'm assuming um, obviously I think this is the high key image. And if you look at the histogram, we'll go into color. Definitely histogram shifted to the right of center, so this qualifies as a high key image. This one I'm assuming is the low key. And it's a little underexposed, but I went in and adjusted the exposure to bring this up a little bit, and it still pretty much falls under the low key. In fact, let me do that right here just to bring up the highlights, midtones, and darken the shadows a touch. You can see that the histogram is still showing that it's a low key image. And then this would be the juxtaposition. It says it's a cuckoo clock with no cuckoo. So it's not two objects placed together, which is the strict definition of juxtaposition. We really only have one object here. This would be a little more of irony, maybe, than juxtaposition, since we're not playing one object against the other. So just a different idea, I guess, as far as what what juxtaposition actually means. But I get the idea. I get what you were going for there. Donna, this is her high key image. It says it's a tree in her front yard. She stood underneath and shot upward, and the lightness of the photo comes from the light colored buds and the blue sky. Yep, obviously. And even without the histogram, I can tell you that this is definitely qualifies as high key. This is the low key. It said that it's a picture of her dog laying on the couch. The dog is dark like the couch, but I like how he can still stand out from the darkness. Yep, and it's because he got a different texture than the couch does. He also has a lot of lightness in him. And even though this area down in front is very light and bright, it still qualifies as a low key image if you look at the histogram on this. Still definitely the majority of the pixels are left of center on the histogram. So um, I think, again, the only, if I'm going to offer a criticism at all, would be that the on-camera flash, which is, I'm assuming, what you lit this with, is a little harsh coming in that direction, and it does light up the pillow a little bit too much. Of course, there are some techniques, vignette or something could have been used to darken that down, but it does separate the dog from the couch a little bit. But these highlights on the back of the couch would have been eliminated by moving, using a light source that was off to one side a little bit. For juxtaposition, she said, I created a contrasting effect between the white eggs and the single golden egg, tried to arrange the eggs in a unique pattern to help create an interesting effect. And you did. This is one of those images that I've talked about before, where simplicity and repetition and pattern, all those things come together to make this a very, very cool image. I love the fact that the gold egg is slightly off center. Even though you can see your reflection in the egg, that's kind of hard. Without going into Photoshop and removing that, it's kind of hard not to. It's so highly reflective. But overall, great concept and great execution on it. It's a really cool photo of juxtaposition. Doesn't necessarily make a statement, I don't think, but definitely objects played against each other there. All right, Erica says, let's see, let's open this up. I think the images are pretty obvious for what they are. She does mention the juxtaposition one, which we'll get to in a minute. she had a bit of an issue getting the right histogram to open in Lightroom. And I don't use Lightroom that much, so and we're not working in it right now, so I can't really help you there. But any histogram that you find in Lightroom should be pretty accurate. And obviously this is a low-key image. I mean, we don't really have to look, but you can see in the RGB almost all of this. I mean, we do have some white obviously in the cat, which is represented by this part of the histogram, but the bulk of them are fall below that line. This is the high key image, and it does again fit that. All of the tones for the most part are, not all of them, but most of them are above that midline. And then finally for juxtaposition, she said it was in an old high school where it was just completely falling apart. I found the janitor's closet and took a picture capturing the mess in the background. So yeah, great concept of juxtaposition here. So we've got this completely falling apart area back here with, you know, next to the janitor's. I don't know if that's the door or what that is, but clearly this guy has not been doing his job. So as far as the concept goes, great idea on that. Worked extremely well. It's exactly what you're looking for that concept. Michaela, let's see. The first two photos of her dog Max. Outside in the sunlight is, so same dog. Outside in the sunlight is the high key image. Clearly it is. And inside is the low key image. And again, if we open it up, we'll see. Whoops, sorry. In the RGB channel that, yep, everything's shifted to the left, even though there are a lot of light tones in the image. Still works for that. And then for juxtaposition, where are we here? It's a picture of a DVD on an open book, and the idea for this is that a DVD is the cinematic screenplay of the words of the page, illustrating a contrast between technology from old to new. So yeah, good idea. No humor involved, which is typically something you see in juxtaposition, but not always. And this definitely works for that. Not sure if I would have gotten it from the image itself. I understand from the explanation it makes a lot of sense. Not sure I would have quite gotten it from the image. Not sure what you, maybe a little more. I understand, you know, cropping it in like this to make it a little more graphic, but a little wider view on this could have helped identify a little bit more about what we were looking at, but the explanation definitely worked on this. And finally we have Monica. She actually included a fourth image, which is a mix of highs and lows, which is this one here at the end we'll take a look at. For the low-key image, it's her sister's dog. Everybody loves dogs. I do too. I just wish I had one right now. That's another story. Anyway, let's see. Converted it to black and white to make it even more striking. For the high key image, took several photos of the flowers on a fruit tree in the yard. Liked how the texture of the white flowers made them pop off the almost white sky background. The only thing I would say on this one is that when we look at this, when we look at the metadata on that file up here in the left-hand corner, it's a 20th of a second at ISO 100. I probably would have bumped the ISO up a little bit to make the shutter speed a little faster, because there's quite a bit of movement in the image. There's really nothing in it that's tack sharp. This one, you know, which is probably the same thing with a slightly different angle, is very sharp, even though probably have the same or roughly the same. So you did bump the ISO up there. It's ISO 500 at 1/60th of a second. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can see the point of focus very sharp right here, and it falls off as it goes beyond that or behind that. And this is definitely more of a mid-key image. For juxtaposition, where are we here? Had her sister sitting around relaxing while a workout video played. So yeah, I get the humor in this. We've got all this stuff, you know, the weights, the the ball, all of this stuff that, in the video playing, and she's just kind of chilling out watching it like, yeah, you go guys, knock yourselves out. I'm not going to bother. So yeah, it works for that. I think even the confined space even adds a little bit to it. If I were going to um, go, there's a few things that could have been done to really knock this image, I think, out of the park. They're minor things. They're not things that were really part of this semester's class, but little distractions. The blue pillows, the white piece of tile, and the outlet covers. Those, and even this. I'm not sure if this is a fuse box or something up here, breaker panel. But removing those items, and again, I'm not suggesting that you had done that because it's outside the scope of what this class was. But I'm just looking at it thinking that could have reduced this even more and brought more of a focus on to the subject matter. But overall, pretty well done. Pretty good job. So that's all I've got, guys. Again, and I did want to make a comment. Was it Michaela that said this? Yeah, it said that in the instructional video, it said that this would be our last photo assignment. I checked, and it did say there is one more, and there is going to be one more. And if you watch the instructional video that was posted yesterday, you'll get that assignment listed in there, and it is also on Sakai this time, so you'll have a place to upload those files. So again, remember next Monday, which is the 20th, we are meeting via Zoom, and I'll send that invitation out to you guys prior to that date. So we'll talk to you soon.